Hello students, good morning. Today in this video we will be learning about the earth structure or the structure of the earth. So to study the structure of the earth, basically we need to know the three realms of the earth, that is lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere. These three realms of the earth consist of 90% of the ninth standard syllabus. And these three lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmospheres. These three realms are categorized into different chapters. Like lithosphere, when you look about lithosphere, they are all about the soil, all about the landforms, right? Studying around in this lithosphere, we'll be studying about the rocks, rock cycle, volcanoes, mountains, plateaus, and the volcanoes, earthquakes. All these things come under this unit, lithosphere unit. And then hydrosphere is one single chapter that is there, all about water bodies we need to learn from this chapter. And regarding atmosphere, we study about the study of the air, study of atmosphere, different layers of atmosphere, the pressure belts of the earth, and the wind directions, wind pattern, or the permanent winds or temporary winds. And there are some cyclones, anticyclones, there will be discussed in atmosphere. So these are the three realms of the earth that you need to know the 90% of the syllabus in 9th standard. If you know these three realms, you will be able to understand the concept of 9th standard geography textbook. So how do we know the lithosphere? Because on the surface of the earth we see and we study, we come in contact with those rocks or the soil that we can see through our naked eyes. But how shall we know the lithosphere under the earth, beneath the earth? So the study of earth structure is mainly done by velocity and intensity of earthquake waves and the lavas emitted from volcanoes. So the study of this earth structure basically is done by two natural calamities that takes place, that is earthquakes, waves, and the lavas, the molten lava that comes out on the earth, that the scientists study and they give information. They learn about the structure of the earth, right? These are the three realms, and remember these three realms are very, very important to know, right? So lithosphere means about the landforms, and hydrosphere means water bodies, and the atmosphere means air. So in simple terms, these are the words or the meaning of these three realms of the earth. So let's see. Now this was the introduction of this earth's structure. Let's see now the temperature, density, and the pressure that is there under the earth. So we'll be studying one by one now. So when we discuss about the temperature of the earth, we discuss that the three realms of the earth, when you go down, the scientists have found out that the temperature increases to the below the surface of the earth. When we go under the earth, when we go, it increases with 1 degree Celsius for 32 meters. It increases 1 degree Celsius of 32 meters of depth when you go below the surface of the earth, under earth. Then when we estimate the temperature of the under the earth at 48 kilometer depth, so naturally when the temperature goes on increasing, right, the rock materials or any materials will not be in the solid forms, right? They will not be in the solidification of rocks, or other materials will not be there, because it goes on increasing with 32 meters 1 degree Celsius of temperature. So what happens at 48 kilometer depth, there the temperature is 1200 degrees Celsius, and 2000 degree Celsius. Can you just imagine, with all the materials and all other rocks will not be in the solid forms, they will be all liquid forms. So at the depth of 48, what happens? There is a source of lava's eruptions. So the lava that we get from the eruption of volcanoes, that is there at the depth of 48 kilometer, because the increasing temperature, because at the depth of 48 kilometers the temperature is 1200 degrees Celsius and 2000 degrees Celsius. So naturally all the materials, minerals will be of liquid forms. Then the temperature at the core, you will when we estimate 1 degree degrees increases with 32 meters. Think about the core. We are just thinking about the 48 kilometers. So when we go to the depth of the core, that three structure of the earth is there: crust, mantle and core. So at the center of the earth, so what will be the temperature if we calculate according to the temperature increases with 1 degree of 32 meters of depth? There will be at the center 4000 degrees Celsius. 4000 degrees Celsius means it is nothing will be in the solid forms, everything will be in the liquid forms, right? But due to some reasons, the upper layer of this core is bit solid, means not so much of, not, it is bit semi-solid, right? Semi-solid or semi-liquid it is there. So scientists estimated that temperature increases with depth from the surface. So they have found out, they have researched that the temperature increases with the increase of depth, right? Then there is upper layer of the surface of the earth. There is a source of this heat of radioactive minerals. They are found here, that is uranium and thorium. So this upper layer of the surface of the earth, the source of radioactive minerals are also found. These two minerals are mainly used for producing heat, right? So when we see about the availability of the radioactive heats or radioactive minerals, thorium and uranium, so minerals are more abundant up to 100 kilometer. They are more abundant up to 100 kilometers, but below the 100 kilometers, the quantity of the minerals will be reducing. They become less quantities because the increase of the temperature, all the minerals become liquid forms, right? Then when we see the condition of temperature of earth with the kilometers or area, at a depth of 48 kilometer, that is found 1200 degrees Celsius. Then at a depth of 400 kilometer, that is found 1500 degrees Celsius. And at the depth of 5100 kilometer, right, it is in the core, the center of the earth, that is structure. So what happens at the depth of 5100 kilometer, the temperature will be 4300 degrees Celsius, right? So these were the few terms to understand the temperature of the earth. Now let us say about the pressure of the earth, right? Pressure. Talk about the pressure of the earth. The pressure exerted by the weight of the atmosphere inside the earth has also been used to determine the composition and structure of the earth's interior. So what happens? The atmosphere also puts exert pressure on the surface of the earth, right? The atmosphere has a weight, right? The atmosphere has weight. So due to that, what happens? It exerted by the weight of the atmosphere. The earth is having more weight because of the presence of the atmosphere. So one atmospheric unit is equal to a pressure of 14.7 psi, right? So there is one atmospheric unit is equal to 14.7 psi. So when we estimate according to these unit, at the depth of 2500 kilometers, the pressure will be 1 million atmosphere, right? So at the depth of 2500 500 kilometer, what happens? The pressure will be 1 million atmosphere. So at core, the interior part, the center of the earth, at core, the pressure will be, that is 5,100 kilometer, the pressure will be 3.5 million atmosphere. Just you can imagine how much pressure of the core is 3.5 million atmosphere. So here the materials are bit solid is because of the pressure, right? Because of the atmospheric pressure and the surface of the earth. So when we talk about the density of the earth, the average density of the earth as per the weight of unit per volume is that it is the average density when we estimate the weight per unit volume of the earth is 5.5. This is average of that. So what happens is the surface of the earth, the surface of the layer of continents composed of Cl, that is mainly the silica and aluminum. This surface, the first layer of the earth. So or it is also known as graphic rocks. That is, the density is 2.7. Right? The density is 2.7. And the middle layer, that is sima, consists of sima, that is silica and magnesium. So these are the two minerals that is present in the second layer, a middle layer, and the density of it is 4.3. So difference between density you can see Cl and sima, right? 2.7 and 4.3. So what happens? Sometimes question may be asked why Cl floats on sima, because the density is less here and the sima's density is more. So because of that, Cl is floating on sima. Then again, the core of the density is mainly 16 approximately. So knife, the mineral is the core of the density is known as knife, or it is consist of iron and nickel. So what happens? The density of the core is 16 approximate, right? So this unit of this per volume is that. So these are the few introduction. These were the introduction of the earth structure. Here you need to remember that the three realms of the earth, that is mainly lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere, and these three realms of the earth, and we have studied about the interior part of the earth, that is temperature, pressure and density. Now next we will be studying about all this in detail. So one more video will be there. So one more video will be there for this and we will be able to complete this chapter. So thank you so much. Hope you might have understood. Any queries, any doubts is there, please leave your comments in the campus care or in the personally you can ask in YouTube. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.